Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, I'm going to be reviewing my AXIL in-ear pro. These are the GS Extremes. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed that they were on sale, and so I picked up two pairs, and I've had the opportunity to test them in two different shooting classes and taken them to the range a couple of times myself. So let's get into this review. I did want to mention really quick that I didn't get the opportunity to test this ear pro in an indoor setting, but after kind of getting to get a good amount of experience with them outside, I don't feel terribly confident with their ability to protect my hearing the way that I would like in an indoor setting. And honestly, even when I'm using a really high quality ear muff, I also tend to double plug when I'm indoors. It's just really, really loud for me. My ears are really, really sensitive. And so having this and just this in an indoor setting definitely wouldn't be enough for me. I kind of already know that, just knowing that I can't really even just use muffs. But I did test double plugging with these. So when I've taken classes in the past in indoor ranges, it's gotten really tiresome actually trying to hear my instructor through my double plugged ear pro. So I'm using a normal little earplug with my electronic ear protection on, and I still can't quite hear some of the time. And so I did throw these on, turn them on, and then put my earmuffs that are also electronic ear pro on, and just in an indoor setting, not in a shooting setting, and had someone talk in the room that I was in. And I tried that with these on and with them off. So essentially using them like a normal earplug that wasn't electronic, and then using them with them actually turned on. And I noticed a substantial amount of difference in volume to what I could actually hear the person in the room saying. And so I think that these would actually be a really good option in a classroom setting, shooting at an indoor range and needing to still be able to hear my instructor. I look forward to really actually getting to test that in the future, but I am confident that that could be a really, really awesome solution. So I suppose that you could technically consider that a con, but for me personally, I won't even just use earmuffs in an indoor setting. Whether they're a really high quality earmuff or not, I do still have to double plug. So it makes sense that I wouldn't be able to only use these in an indoor setting as well. The next con that I wanted to mention was that the foam tips, a lot of them actually came deformed. And I don't know that that is going to inherently affect the amount of hearing protection you're actually getting out of those foam tips, but I thought that was interesting. You're paying $200 for a bit of ear pro, and your foam tips that are the actual higher hearing protection piece are coming to you deformed. I feel like there should be a way to kind of quality control that. I feel like there should be a way to prevent that when they're going from the factory to the actual seller or from the seller to the customer. There's got to be a way to quality control that a little bit better. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that it's really important for you to get these really deep into your ear. It is like a normal little earplug. You need to scrunch them up as small as they can get and really, really get them deep into your ear to get the best effect out of them. I noticed a really substantial difference in the amount of hearing protection I was getting when I just put them in my ear like this, just straight on, to when I actually took the time to really like get them into my ear and like crank them in there. I got much better hearing protection when I made an effort to put them in properly. One last con that I wanted to mention is the battery life. So they have a good amount of battery life, and if you're charging them with some consistency, you should be good to go. But I did let them run completely dead when the first time I used them, and it actually doesn't warn you when they're about to die. I mean, it does. It tells you like 60 seconds before they die that they're going to die. And for me, that's really not enough of a warning. Any other electronic that I have that is going to warn me when it's going to die, it usually warns me about an hour beforehand, depending on the electronic. But I feel like for something like hearing protection, I think it's really important to know when they're going to die. And from what I understand, there's really no other indication that they're starting to get really low on battery, other than when they tell you they're going to die and they die 60 seconds later. So I would encourage you to actually have backup hearing protection where you don't have the opportunity to just, cease your time at the range and go charge them or go do something else. If you're in a classroom setting, just bring another set of hearing protection just in case these unexpectedly die. Now, they're also headphones, so you don't actually have to use them as hearing protection. You can use them as Bluetooth headphones. There's two different little control panels. On the right side, you're controlling all of your music and your Bluetooth stuff, and on this side, it's just an on and off and then an up and down on volume when it comes to hearing protection. So you can turn the hearing protection off and have Bluetooth on, or you can actually have Bluetooth on and hearing protection on if you're just cruising at the range and you want to listen to some music too. They also do an amazing job of staying in your ears. I didn't do any kind of running and shooting, but I did take these for an actual run. I don't run very far, you guys. I did like 1.5 miles maybe running with these, and they didn't budge. I wasn't worried about them falling out. I wasn't messing with them or anything like that. I actually used the little clip that it comes with, and I clipped them to my running hat, and they didn't bother me at all. And usually I'm messing with my headphones if I'm running with them. I usually do just leave one in and take one out, and that's what I did with these. I've been wanting to try an ear pro pretty much since I started shooting, and that's because the pressure from the earmuffs pressing up against my eye pro and my hat would cause a lot of pain just right on the tops of my ears. This ear pro solved that problem for me, and honestly, I foresee myself using this in-ear pro going forward. The only time that I see myself going back to muffs is when I'm in an indoor setting. I just need that extra hearing protection when I'm inside, but outside, even around a bunch of other shooters, I feel really confident in using this AXIL in-ear pro. So like with anything else, there are some cons to consider, but for me personally, it's solving such a big issue, which is that pain up on my ears and on my head while I'm shooting, that it's worth it to me to kind of try to mitigate some of those cons. So placing the foam tips properly in my ears, choosing the right foam tip size, and honestly, having to manage the battery life is a little bit annoying to me, but I'm willing to do it if it's solving that problem for me. Honestly, I think it would be a great idea if it's possible for AXIL to work on finding a better way to alert the user that they're about to die. I think that that would be actually a pretty big upgrade. I really don't like the fact that I'm not told or have any idea of knowing that they're going to die until they're pretty much dead. But beyond that, there aren't really any cons that have brought me to a place where I wouldn't be willing to recommend these. And like I said, I'm pretty much planning to continue using these until I'm given a reason not to. Maybe there's another in-ear pro that's equally as affordable that I could be using. I will continue to look into that. But for right now, I actually really am enjoying this in-ear pro. I really love that I don't have pressure on my ears anymore, and that I really only need to double plug or use muffs in an indoor setting. And the last thing that I wanted to mention that I probably should have said at the very beginning of the video is that this review is entirely separate from AXIL. I wasn't asked to make this review. I wasn't paid to make this review. I wasn't even sent the ear pro. I paid for this ear protection all on my lonesome. So this review is entirely separate from any kind of relationship with AXIL. With that, thank you for watching today's video. I hope it was helpful for you and that I gave you some things to consider, and I'll see you in the next one.